Hi, assalamualaikum dear viewers. This is Maz Khwaja, founder of AskMaz.com. Dear viewers, today topic of our video is ISO 45005 General Guidelines for Safe Working During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Dear viewers, recently we have recorded the same video in Urdu, but we received many requests to remake that video, this video in English. So there is a request. My English is not very good, and if I got stuck somewhere, I'll take help from Urdu and Hindi words. So do forgive me for that. So coming back to our topic, ISO 45005. In this short video, we will briefly, first of all, we will see the contents of this standard. What are the main points, main clauses, and then very briefly, discuss each clause. In upcoming videos, we will discuss every clause in detail, and we will have some discuss for some examples as well. So its contents, there are basically 14 clauses written in this standard, and two annexures, annexure A and B, are attached with it. So if I name all clauses, clause number 1 is scope, clause number 2 is normative references, clause number 3 is terms and conditions, clause number 4 is planning and assessment of risks. It has 4.8 sub-clauses, and clause number 5 is suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19. Clause number 6 is psychological health and well-being, so it also focuses on mental health. Clause number 7, inclusivity. Clause number 8, resources. Clause number 9, communication. It has 3 sub-clauses, 9.3. Clause number 10, hygiene. Clause number 11, use of personal protective equipment, masks and face covering. So it is discussing PPEs, masks and face covering separately. And clause number 12, this is the longest and most lengthy clause in this standard. It has 10 sub-clauses up to 12.10. Name of this clause number 12 is operations. And clause number 13, performance evaluation. Clause number 14, improvement. And the name of two annexures, annexure A and B, that are attached, that are part of this standard, are annexure A, protective security considerations, and annexure B, accessibility and inclusion considerations. So there are basically 14 clauses in this standard. So if we briefly go through each and every clause, let's see what is it written in it. What is it written? क्या लिखा हुआ है इसमें उर्दू में अगर बात कर लो. So sorry for first mistake. Scope. In scope, it is written that this document is applicable on all types of organizations, including those. What does it include? That have been operating throughout the pandemic, that are resuming or planning to resume after the pandemic, those organizations that are reoccupying, who were partially or fully closed during the pandemic, and those organizations who are going to operate very first time after the pandemic. So it covers all types of organizations. Normative reference, nothing is written in normative reference. There is a statement written. There are no normative references in this document. Then terms of conditions, there are 3.11. There are total 11 definitions. We'll make a video. If we go through the main definitions, pandemic. It states worldwide spread of disease. So any disease that is spread worldwide is defined as pandemic in this standard. And COVID-19, as per this standard, infectious disease caused by the new coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 discovered in 2019. So COVID-19 is basically the virus that is discovered in the 2019 as per this standard. And incident definition, risk definition, workplace, face covering. Yes. As per this standard, face covering means the face piece that covers the mouth, nose and chin. Mouth, nose and chin. So the face covering must cover 3 parts: mouth, nose and chin. That is termed as face covering as per this standard. Very important note written: face coverings are also known as community masks, hygiene mask, barrier mask, comfort mask, or other local terms, many terms. Okay, common areas, another important definition: spaces and amenities provided for the use of more than one person. Yani common places that are being used by more than one places, that can be toilets, that can be common workplaces, that can be conference rooms, so that can be mess, sitting points, common benches, where waiting areas that are termed as. Okay, clause number 4 pay. Now we are coming towards clause number 4. What are its major sub clauses? There are 8 sub clauses. 4.1, understanding the context of organization. This will be the common thing between ISO 45005 and 1 and this and that. Leadership, 4.2, leadership and work participation. 4.3, general planning. 4.4 is very important. That is the crux, one of the clause that is you can say the crux of this standard. It covers 4 further sub clauses. 4.4.1, physical workplaces, working from home, working in other people home, and working multiple locations or mobile workplaces. So let's have a brief in understanding physical workplaces. What does it means? The organization should ensure that workplaces, including all premises, sites and other work locations, including outside of the building as well, and facilities within those workplaces are clean and safe to use. To prepare for the safe operation, the organization should ensure a minimum standard. What minimum standard should be ensured? Perform maintenance checks and activities on equipment and system. Establish arrangements to prevent potential infectious people from entering the workplace. So there must be a proper screening procedure implemented at the main door or main gate or main entrance of your organization to screen all infectious people and send them back home, not allowing them to enter your workplace. And what else is very important? Assess all premises, sites or parts of the sites, including those that have been closed or partially closed. Now 4.2, working from home. So working from home, most important things, if we briefly look at, in determining which workers should work from home, the organization should ask workers the following question. What question should be asked from the question if they are willing to work from home? There are 4 questions written in this standard. Number A, can you effectively perform your role from home? Very important. Who knows that person working from home is spending time with his family rather than performing his official duties. So very first question as per the standard should be asked from the person who is willing to work from home is, can you effectively perform your duties from home? Number B, is your home situation suitable for working from home? Yes, that is very important. Why? Just like I am making the video and suddenly my son appear in this video, or if you are conducting a video con with your senior management and your wife came and asked you to do something, so then your home is not suitable, or your background is not so good that suits your video calls, or there is a noisy place around your home. Number 2, very important question, is your home situation suitable for working at home? Number 3rd, do you want to return to a physical place? So you want to permanently work at home, or you will return to your workplace? And number 3rd, are you confident that you can travel safely to or from physical place without significant exposure to COVID-19? If a person is willing to work at workplace, so he must ensure that he can safely travel from home to workplace and back from workplace to back to home. He will not be exposed to any type of danger or infectious person or infectious disease. He shall not become a carrier. That is good point. And 4.4.3, working in other people's home. And 4.4.4, working in multiple locations or mobile workplaces. So what does it mean that for working in multiple locations or workplaces? Okay, as per this, yes, a person who is the organization should ensure that workers with roles that cannot be performed at home or in fixed workplaces, like drivers, yes, social workers, social representatives, or delivery boys. So they work on multiple locations at a time. They have to travel from door to door. So they have mentioned some guidelines for these people as well in this standard. So jumping towards 4.5, what is 4.5? As I have already mentioned that we will briefly go through all clauses. We will not discuss anything in detail. Otherwise our video will be very lengthy and boring. 4.5 is roles, 4.6 is activities, and 4.7 is emergency preparedness and response. So it is mandatory for an organization to prepare an emergency response in the context of this standard. Our organization should establish a quarantine area, isolation area if they identify any infectious person or any person having a COVID-19 symptoms, how to evacuate that person and how to protect other persons come in contact with this person, and how to identify his primary contact person and then secondary contact person. What are primary and secondary contact person? Number one, for example, this is person A and these are 5 persons working around him. The A person has COVID-19 symptoms and he is tested positive. So these 5 persons that are working together with him, they are primary contact persons of this person A. And these 5 persons were further working with 2 persons each. So these 2 persons were secondary contact person. So you have to trace these secondary contact persons as well as per the standard while preparing the emergency preparedness and emergency response plan. So good elaboration of everything. They are discussing first aid procedure, first aids and this evacuation, and then planning. 4.8 is planning for changes to restriction. Yes, 4.8 is very important. Your planning must be include the changes to restrictions. Due to this pandemic, several restrictions have been imposed in different areas, globally and locally in different regions. These restrictions are changing from day to day. With passage of time, somewhere it was a smart lockdown or some places were permanently locked down. So whenever you have to assess which restrictions are currently imposed and which have been lifted up. So you have to include all these restrictions and all these local government ordinances in your plan while working with this standard. Nice one. The plans of different types of restrictions should address how to agree and communicate which workers will be required on site, will be required to work at home and will not be able to work at all. Communicate the likely impact on working hours, pay and other conditions. Communicate to customers and other interested parties how changes to restrictions will affect operations. Nice. Plans should be communicated to workers and other relevant interested parties at the earliest opportunity. I am not reading line by line. I am just going through major points. I hope we will cover the major points. Then when we'll be making the detailed video, we will discuss everything in detail. Clause number 5. Now coming towards clause number 5. Suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19. It has further 4 clauses. 5.1 is about general. 5.2 is managing illness in workplace. 5.3 managing illness of workers at home or in mobile settings. 5.4 5.3 was managing illness of workers at home or in mobile setting, and 5.4 is testing, contact tracing and quarantine. So briefly go through each clause. Okay, managing illness in the workplace. 5.2, it is written that the organization should provide suitable PPEs, example face shield, gloves, gowns, etc. and mask, and give guidance on how to use these by the first aiders and the patients. Whatever consideration should be given to the people who need to lip read, and when this is the situation, transparent face shield should be used together with physical distancing and other. Yes, very important. Some people may have a hearing impairment at your site and they read your lips. So if you have any such type of person in your organization, then the other person should wear a transparent face shield instead of face mask, face covering. So the other person, the person with the hearing impairment, can easily read its lips and guess what he is saying. Good point. Isolate the person who is unwell while first aid is provided, or if transport from the workplace needs to be arranged. Provide the affected person with mask and ask them to wash or sanitize their hands. Require the affected person to leave the workplace using safe method transport. Safe method transport, and there is written in the bracket, avoid public transport. And once safe transport is provided to that person, affected person, the transport, after that the vehicle should also be disinfected. 5.3, managing illness of workers at home or in mobile setting. The organization should establish a process of managing workers who develop symptoms COVID-19 while working at home or in mobile. The organization should ensure that workers are encouraged to report symptoms. Yes, a worker should be encouraged to report a symptom. They should not hide the symptoms. In that case, they can spread widely the COVID-19 or other illnesses. There is regular communication with the affected worker to determine if symptoms develop further or the worker becomes seriously unwell. Workers understand whether they should continue to perform work activities from home, if they are well enough, or if the time should be taken as sick leave. Workers understand the process for returning to work activities following self-isolation or recovering from the. So there must be a procedure, there must be a plan, there must be guidelines for the person who was affected from COVID-19 and then he is returning back to the organization. What precautions he should take before coming and after joining the organization, and what tests he should undergo. Everything should be written in the plan. Now jumping towards 5.4, testing, contact tracing and quarantine. Organization should encourage workers with symptoms to request a test at the earliest opportunity. Every person who is having the symptom must be tested, and it depends whether this test fees will be claimed or not. It is your internal policies. Encourage regular testing for the workers who have extended extractions with other people as a result of their role, including workers with no symptoms. If the person duty is like a person is working as a driver or a delivery boy or social worker, he will be definitely moving from one place to another place, and he will be meeting different people. Although he is not developing a symptoms, but he should undergo test on after regular intervals, after every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So if he has any coronavirus in him, it should be identified through test whether he is developing symptoms or not. Or there must be a travel policy during pandemic and clear to all workers. And anything else important? No. So this was clause number 5, briefly discussing the clause number 5. Now jumping towards clause number 6, psychological health and well-being. So it is, I'll give 10 out of 10 to this standard because they are discussing mental health and illness in this standard. And it is very important to discuss mental health and illness and considering it as a disease. Because due to this pandemic, there was lockdown and many organizations went through economical crisis, and there was a big layoff. So as a result of this layoff and economical crisis, many workers, many employees were suffering from mental illness, stress whether they will be part of the organization in next few months or not. If this pandemic continued and lockdown continued for years, how they will survive and how they support their family. So this organization, it should be considered, it is mental illness, psychological health and well-being is part of the standard. The organization should establish processes to manage the impact of pandemic on workers' psychological health and well-being. Psychological health and well-being can be affected by psychological hazards such as uncertainty, workload and workplaces, working hours, role ambiguity, lack of control means rapid changes in risk level leading to sudden enforcement or easing of restrictions, lack of social support, impact of prolonged isolation. When we say that any person having a symptom should isolate himself, so isolation is not an easy task. You are living in a room that is locked and you are watching the walls all the way. So it has a very negative impact on your mental health. Job insecurity, difficulty in balancing of work and home life. So these are all parts included in this standard. Clause number 7 is inclusivity. There are special inclusivities means the organization should ensure that actions taken to manage risks arising from COVID-19 to work-related health, safety and well-being take into account the impact on different groups of worker and other relevant interested parties. So while planning for COVID-19, risk assessment, emergency preparedness responding and other things, we should include the you can say that interest or expectations of interested parties, means that you have to consider all the stakeholders of your organization. All stakeholders means there will be, if there is any labor union or your investors or your customers, your workers, whosoever is linked with your organization must be part of the plan. Number 8, resources. When determining the resources needed to start, resume and maintain essential activities, the organization should consider human resources including practical and psychological support to the workers, financial resources, appropriate PPEs including face covering, face mask, cleaning, disinfection, hand washing facilities, technology is a very important resource. So because due to this pandemic, many people are working at home and they have to communicate with their bosses or their teammates via Zoom, Teams, Microsoft Teams, Google Talk or WhatsApp, video conferencing, whatsoever their tool they are adopting. So technology is very important, so the organization should ensure that their workers are aware of this technology and they know how to use it, and they should provide the necessary training to your workers and must upgrade their knowledge on this technology, infrastructure and equipment, communication method, blah 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 blah. It was clause number 8. So clause number 9 is communication. It has 3 subclauses. Number 9.1 is general, 9.2 is for first entry into workplace and ongoing communication. If I sum up this clause number 9, it is about that you should communicate your plans, your risk, your precaution measures, your all procedures to your workers, your employees, your customers, your stakeholders, your anyone who is interacting with your organization, a person who is entering your organization for the very first time, who is regularly visiting your organization, who is coming as a guest or who is coming for any business meeting. So this is the communication. They have discussed it in this communication in very detail, and their communication process should be continual process and ongoing process. If you have communicated anything to any worker, don't expect it will stuck in his head or he'll remember it forever. You have to communicate again and again and make him realize that he should follow this. Just wait a minute. My pin falls down. Pin deg gayi si Punjabi ch kawan de. Just wait. Okay, coming towards clause number 10, hygiene. Hygiene is a big problem nowadays. We are keeping ourselves safe by wearing the face mask and wearing the hand gloves made of thin plastic, but in other ways we are polluting the environment adversely, and there are tons of solid waste producing every day. So in hygiene, they say organizations should implement processes to keep the workplace clean to reduce the risk of transmission of COVID-19 from contamination surfaces and to enable good hygiene throughout working hours at the end of each work. So if I sum up, hands should be washed with clean, preferably hot water and soap for 20 to 40 seconds. Hands should be sanitized with their hand sanitizer suitable for safe and effective use against COVID-19, containing a minimum 60% ethanol or 70% isopropyl alcohol. So they have defined the washing standard and disinfectant standard. So if I sum up these hygiene standards, they say wash your hands regularly, sanitize your hands regularly. Whenever you come from outside, wash your hands and move your clothes and wear the clean clothes. before greeting your elders, then greeting your kids, go to washroom, take bath, and then come to them. If you are coming to organization, first wash your hands, sanitize, and the common touch points, that are door knobs, toilet doors, seats, in cafeteria, tables, meeting rooms, their table and meeting room chairs, they are common touch points. If equipments are being used at organization, just if you can say forklifter or other tools, that are also common touch points. So all these common touch points should be regularly disinfected before the start of every shift, after the end of every shift, and during the shift. After 2 hours, 3 hours, you have to set the frequency. So this is the overall summary of this clause. So clause number 11 is about use of personal protective equipment, masks and face coverings. PPE protects the user against health or safety risk at work. In context of COVID-19, PPE should, such as respiratory equipment and face shields, can be used if workers are required to use PPE to protect against risk unrelated to transmission of COVID-19. They should continue to do so. PPEs are very important these days. Actually, when you are wearing the face mask or face covering, when you speak, there are some droplets, teeny droplets come out of your face. If you sneeze, you cough, so hundreds and thousands and millions of droplets will come out from mouth. So this face mask will protect and to reach other person. These droplets will not reach the other person if you are wearing the face mask. Similarly, if you are habitual of touching your eyes or nose, then face mask will protect you from touching your nose, and goggles will protect you from touching your eyes. So everything is written in this. In PPEs, they discuss 3 main points: uses of PPEs, storage of PPEs, and disposal of PPEs. Because their disposal is very important. If you are infectious, if you are COVID positive, then your PPEs are basically hazardous waste. So PPEs shall be disposed as per hazardous waste guidelines, disposal guidelines. So you have to understand this thing. It is written that securely dispose of mask and face covering after single use if the material is not washable. So if the material is not washable, so simple 3-ply face mask is basically one-time use. It is not for the using again and for the days. You use it and dispose it, and continue to comply with the physical distancing guidelines. Operations, clause number 12. So it discusses general first return to the workplace, entering the and leaving the workplace, moving around and between the workplace, work zones, workstations, use of common areas, use of toilets, working with the public. Working with the public is important. The organization should take actions such as training of workers with public facing roles to be aware of how to communicate safety measures to members of the public, including people with disabilities who have individual. So who are the workers dealing with the public? Emergency response teams, security guard standing at your gate, cashier, all workers in the hospitals, clinics, they are dealing with the restaurants, they are dealing with the public, general public, using posters, signs, marketing, emails and other communication to inform the members. Then 12.9 is work related travel, and 12.10 is deliveries. So for travel, they have written for road travel other than on mass transport, minimize the number of people traveling together, use fixed teams or pairs while traveling. So don't make the teams and pairs in your organization that these 3 persons will always travel together. Don't change that pair, so that danger or risk of transmission of disease will be reduced. Open windows to increase the ventilation. Ensure vehicles are clean and disinfectant between shifts, before shift and after shift. require workers to avoid sitting face to face, encourage the use of mask or face covering if more than one person is in vehicle. And for deliveries, 12.10, minimize person to person contact during deliveries, including during payment and exchange of documentation. Electronic tools of payment shall be encouraged. Very good. Provide guidance to workers taking deliveries at home or in other location not controlled by the organization on safe handling and distribution. Revise pickup and drop off location collection points. Pickup and drop off collection points. Zones with physical distancing, marking no contact drop offs to customer and other work sites. Reduce the frequency of incoming deliveries. Use single workers or fixed pair to load or unload vehicles. Very good. Use single workers or fixed pair. Provide controlled and safe accesses to welfare facilities. Encourage drivers to stay in their vehicle where this does not compromise safe working practice. Consider cleaning or disinfection of delivered items or isolated items that can be disinfected. If you see any item, don't open it, don't touch it with your hands. Wear gloves, pick that item, put it into some place. After 24 or 48 hours, open it. So in that case, in that time, we hope that coronavirus will automatically die, or you may use disinfectant spray on it. So clause number 13 and 14, these are typical clauses, performance evaluation and improvement. So whenever there is a standard PDCA cycle is incomplete without these two clauses, there are management reviews, incident reporting, and for improvement, continuous improvement, and this and that clauses. Points are written. Now next year A is protective security considerations. As per this standard, it is written that protective security measures should not be removed or reduced without undertaking a security risk assessment. So you must conduct a security risk assessment of organization while implementing the social distancing and other safety measures against COVID-19. Security breach shall be taken into consideration. A security assessment should be done, and security persons shall be made part of that team. So they may guide you that which are the necessary or essential security checks that should be continued during this pandemic as well. And last is lecture B, that was accessibility inclusion consideration. So they have specifically mentioned that factors affecting the outside of the workplace must be included. What are the factors of working outside the workplace? Traveling time, alternate routes, traffic jams, parking areas, common parking areas, drop-off lanes, pick-up lanes. So there will be additional time spent on these things, and there will be loss of working hours. So you should include these things, these factors in your work plans as well. And factors affecting the inside the workplace. One-way system can create longer routes, ensuring there is sufficient space for wheelchair and yes. If you target factors considering within the workplace includes the disabled persons as well. So this was a brief introduction to this standard. I hope I have touched every part briefly, and in upcoming videos we will discuss everything in detail. Thank you for listening and encouraging me to make this video in English. Thank you. Okay, bye bye. Take care.